So many hours here, we can shut off the Hoyer stopwatches. We are almost to the end of this affair. Chuck Trungale, the director of motorsports for Hoyer. These things have been all over the Speedway, and they've done a great job here with the guys who turned in the best time. That Lowenbrock crew, they've turned in a tremendous effort here, and they've won the Timing is Everything award.
That's right. And they've given the performance that Hoyer expects with all of their products and the quality that you expect with the Porsche.
I'm going to put you to work in just a moment. Okay. Hang on to that grand prize. I want to talk to this guy. Tom Seabolt is the crew chief on the winning car. And Tom, you guys worked your tails off. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Yeah, everybody put in a great effort. So, you know, I wish I could think of every name right now to thank each person individually, but everybody on the whole team put in a great effort.
It would seem to me that after all the frustration of last year, leading so long and then seeing it all go away, but to trail for so long and to seemingly have written off the victory and then to emerge at the finish, this must be one of the great moments for Hobart Racing.
Well, that's one thing our team tries to do, is we try and go for the finish no matter what. It turned out right at the end that if, you know, had we given up earlier or taken another 10 minutes on a broken throttle cable change or something like that, that could have cost the victory. So you have to give it your all every minute of the race. So that's what all our guys do.
We've got it all for you right now. On Al's behalf, we'd like you to accept from Chuck a beautiful watch. Chuck, do the honors here, if you would.
Tom, on behalf of the president, Jean-Pierre Leroux of Tag Hoyer and RPM, we'd like to present this Hoyer Black Coral Sport Watch to you and your crew and to Al for performing so well in the Hoyer Timing is Everything award.
Thank you very much. It's gorgeous.
And we got $500 to go with that, too. Congratulations, Tom. Let's go back to Chris Economaki.
I'm here in Victory Lane with the winners of the Camel Light Series, John Schneider, Ray Mummery, and Frank Rubino. A happy trio. Now, you guys said this race was a piece of cake. Tell us really what happened, Frank.
Well, at 11 o'clock last night, we lost second gear. Later on, we proceeded to have a wheel nut welded on and spent 23 minutes removing it. Other than a minor cockpit fire, things went wonderful.
Well, how about you, John?
Well, I think what happened, because of the attrition, it boiled down to the best prepared car. And
Ray, you had a spinner too?
Oh, I had a couple of them out there. I got helped into one and did one all by myself, but it didn't matter any. We kept on going because it's a great car and great preparation. We've had good backing from everybody, and the list is endless. You know, everything worked out.
You guys aren't used to Victory Lane. You're supposed to talk about the kind of car and the kind of engine. What is it?
It's a brand new JM19 Argo with a Mazda engine, and we're sponsored by the Outlaw Horsepower Booster Company, who's going to do us for the whole season.
Well, that's good. You got that plug in. Okay, congratulations, gentlemen, and back topside to Ken Squire.
All right, we'll be back with more from the results on this 24 Hours of Daytona after these messages. Stand by here on the Superstation. Action, that's the biggest thing moving here at the Speedway right now. The Seagulls waiting for the folks to leave so they can have a little lunch. Let's review the final portion of the 24 Hours of Daytona and some of the action that we saw here. This was the Preston Hen car, which was running well and was able to capture the lead right around dawn this morning. Around 7 o'clock, it went out in front and was to stay there for some time. Still seeing the effects of the breakfast time here this morning. Didn't create any more than 3 or 4 two-alarm fires. As dawn came up, car number 44 or 04 found itself in trouble. This was the Brian Redmond Hurley Haywood car and detonating their 12-cylinder engine. 67 went in front, the Jim Busby car for some time, and things had turned completely around for them. They thought they were out of it. They were right back up in front another time. And then they too had still another problem. They were under the car, and all they had 5 problems back there with that rear end and that hub, blowing tires out on them. But the worst problem for them came when Jan Lammers, the Belgian driver, crashed into the wall. He was pinned in the car for some time, but escaped injury. Car looks to be a wipeout. Following that incident, we were able to see A.J. Foyt another time, stomping and storming, along with Danny Sullivan, co-driving much of this distance. And they were pulling themselves up and getting the lead. It looked like Preston Head was going to do it 2 years in a row and 3 times. And here you see the the 13 car leading in the Camel Light competition at that time, and it was on to win the Rubino car, Mummery car. Beautiful machine. And that new class that started a year ago, following that, the GTO class. This was Frank Rubino's number 07, I believe, and that car was leading in GTO and holding on. Roush machine. In GTU, Amos Johnson and company were having themselves a time in GTU throughout this event. They dominated pretty much the last part of the race, along with Shaw. There you see it. Another Mazda getting the job done here today. Toward the end of the race, we were once again watching the A.J. Foyt car and the Holbert car and the 67 all in there together, finding it out. Car number 8 had developed a problem. It was back on pit road another time, and the Preston Hen crew was extremely concerned. They worked for a considerable amount of time and were to lose the lead. Lose the lead right here. Car number 14 coming to turn number 1, hardest braking turn on the track. And here you see car number 14 going out into the lead. It was at this point, way late in the race, an hour to go, that set it up for this finish. Notice that as they came to the checkered flag here, that car number 8 got a lap back, so we had 2 cars finishing in the same lap. The margin of victory, 1 minute 49 seconds, the closest race ever in the history of this event. The average speed was 105 miles per hour, 105.4. That breaks the old record of 104.162. Willie T. Ribbs is here, and David Hobbs. Your thoughts about what we've seen this day and this past night?
Ken, we knew the strategy was the rabbit and the turtle. And the rabbits ran themselves out of gas, and the turtles sat back, and they finished 1, 2, 3.
David?
Well, for all the strategy and all the clever thoughts and everything, I'm afraid that Lady Dumb Luck played a part. That Busby car did 339 laps. At the head of this field, the Holbert car did 51. But, of course, one of those laps was the right one.
Let's go to the STP pit center. Here's Dave Despain.
We are not posing for a family picture here. We've got all the reporters, everybody who helped cover this race. Gentlemen, I'd like your lasting opinion, your lasting memory of this race. We begin with the senior citizen, Chris. Age before
My memory will be the fact that the IMSA regulars were joined by Indianapolis drivers, World Endurance drivers, NASCAR stock car drivers, Formula One drivers, open wheel drivers, go-karters, and an even airplane and a boat racer. A great mix. And the international aspect is evidenced by the flags in the corner. Great international coverage here. I'll remember this one a long time.
Bill Hennessy, quickly, you labored through the night.
GTO driver Lanny Hester, he's had a 4-year layoff. The biggest thing he's ever done is won 3 pole positions at the Daytona Dash race. He brought Maurice Hassey in here from Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. His experience came in many stocks, and the pro was Lee Mueller. A great drive for them in winning.
Steve Potter from the night shift.
My old friends, Ray Mummery and John Schneider, coming home winners with Frank Rubino in the Camel Light class.
Give Bob Barsha a crack.
I tell you what, Dave, I love that story about the ugly little Porsche that nobody wanted, and Al Holbert brought it here and won with it. I think they ought to park it in the museum, give it fresh oil and a pat on the bumper every day for the rest of their lives.
Bill Adam, race driver and broadcaster.
Same thing, just tremendous faith shown by Al Holbert and his crew and his car, showing the old axiom, never give up.
Jerry Garrett from pit road.
The end of 2 decades, 2 generations of frustration for the Holbert family. Al Holbert never won here, neither did his father Bob, all the way back to the 60s.
I like that, and I'm a record freak. Closest Daytona in history is the way it will go into the book, and I like remembering that. That's the story from down here.
The Daytona International Speedway has seen its best 24-hour race here on the Superstation. It's been a joy to bring it to you. Folks beginning to filter out of this racetrack. Coming up on the IMSA circuit, they'll move on to Miami for their next event, and then Sebring, which you'll be seeing here on the Superstation. WTBS will have coverage of that at the start, at the finish, and 5-minute reports, and flag-to-flag coverage later this year at Charlotte, North Carolina. What a joy to see such a great victory by Al Holbert, who is probably one of the best representatives this sport has ever enjoyed. After his IMSA championships, to see him put the cap on it here and win this 24-hour race, the one that's eluded that team now belongs to them. It is their day. Not just for Porsche or their sponsors, but for Holbert in particular. There couldn't be a better man in victory lane. For Dave Despain, Chris Economaki, Jerry Garrett, Bob Barsha, Bill Hennessy, Jim Roller, David Hobbs, Willie T. Ribbs, Bill Adam, and Steve Potter, I'm Ken Squire.
A promotional fee and consideration paid by STP. For nearly 3 decades, America has been driving and winning with STP.
STP is the racer's edge.
And by the Hawaiian Inn. Racers love the Hawaiian Inn, a Polynesian paradise in Daytona Beach. Dazzling tropical review, delicious food and drinks, and best of all, real American hospitality. It's fabulous. It's the Hawaiian Inn. It's Daytona Beach. And by Goodwrench, Mr. Goodwrench and General Motors Parts. No one knows your car better than Mr. Goodwrench. No one.
And by BF Goodrich TA Radials, makers of the world's most complete line of high-performance car and truck radials, built for you to take on the road.
And by Heuer. Tag Heuer, your partner today and tomorrow. In aviation, nautical sports, and motor racing, Tag Heuer's unsurpassed technical and styling skills provide the top range of watches and timers.
Live coverage of the 24 Hours of Daytona was brought to you by Dodge, a performance revolution, an American revolution. And by BF Goodrich TA Radials, built for you to take on the road. And by Coors, the beer with the difference worth tasting. Coors is the one.